Hello, hello, and welcome to Ladies Who Question. We have a very special show because we have an interview with a gentleman who does something pretty doggone important in the world. I'm going to start this with a quote. 1 in 6 Americans live in poverty and is considered to be food insecure. That is straight from the website of Beef4Hunger, for beef 4, like as in the digit 4hunger.org. I read that and I think I've probably been aware of that before, but still to see that on an organization that is completely affiliated and in deep with this particular issue was startling to me. It was a startling statistic and very upsetting. So Holly and I welcome Greg Barnum.
Hello, Greg. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you.
Welcome to Ladies Who Question.
Well, thanks for having me.
We're happy to have you.
Of course.
You're the chairman of Beef4Hunger, correct?
That's correct.
Well, during the holidays, we're spotlighting charities, local charities, and we thought you would be a great candidate to come on and talk about Beef4Hunger. So, Greg, why don't you tell us about how you came about your organization and your charity?
You're one of the founders, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. So, way back, I think it was in 2012, my wife and I were talking because we do a little farming and ranching, and we said, gosh, how can we give back into the community and to others that are less fortunate? And so we thought about what would be impactful and really hit home with people that were in need. So we went to the basics, which is feeding people that need food, the hungry. And we came up with, why don't we give the hungry steaks and hamburger from our family farm? And then we're like, well, no, that's probably not that good of an idea, especially after we talked to an attorney and said, no.
Oh, yeah.
We'll expand on that a little bit. So why wasn't that a good idea?
Well, because in order to do a nonprofit and to do it right, you need to get an attorney and you have to file a 501c3, and there's a whole bunch of administrative paperwork to be a legitimate nonprofit. And that's what we did. We hired an attorney and did that, and they advised me along with others, my wife and I, that you want to keep your family business completely separate. First off, because we could never, what are we going to do? Bring steaks and a couple hamburgers every time we got from our farm. So we needed to find something bigger and better to do that. So that's kind of what the start of the process was, get it founded, and then conceptually, what could we do and how would we develop a board to help support Beef4Hunger and launch this out in the field. And finally, we did, as we incorporated, we did some research, and I actually contacted probably about 75 of the 200 food banks across the country and asked the simple question, do you need beef? And what do you think I got? Yes, absolutely. It's the hardest thing to get, and it's filled with protein and all that.
Perishable.
Yeah, perishable and most versatile and all that stuff. So we, after that interview, we're like, we have something here. I think we need to figure this out and go forward and launch the program. And with any nonprofit, they're just like small businesses. Most of them fail the first year. 80% of them fail. Yeah, it's no different than small businesses.
Okay.
You got to have your act together and know what you're doing and have a strategy and have a plan. So we got a small board of what we would call very smart people in different categories.
That helps.
In a small board that was manageable. And we started, and then our first, we needed to get some sponsors because you need money. You need money to buy the beef, and you need a place to get the beef to give the hungry. And then we had to decide, what did we want to provide? And we ended up, from a lot of counseling, coming up with 1 pound chubs of hamburger because it's the most versatile. You can make spaghetti, tacos. You can do so much with just hamburger. And in 1 pound chubs, we can get it to more people faster. So then we had to figure out where we were going to procure the beef and buy the beef from. So we started off with Reinhardt Food Service, which I think you guys have heard of them. They're around the North Shore. They deliver beef to a lot of it. And we made our first purchase from them from some money that we had raised. And we donated it to Shields Township right here in Lake Bluff.
To the food pantry?
Yep, to the food pantry. And well, we wanted to donate it, but we couldn't because they didn't have, we're like, we wanted to start.
Refrigeration.
Yeah, there you go. They had no refrigeration, so we bought them a freezer. We down to Deerfield when the old Sears outlet store was there. And we bought them a used chest freezer, and we put it in there. And then we made our first donation and first beef purchase. I think it was like 6,400 meals.
My!
And we packed the freezer, and off we went. And then all of a sudden we're like, okay, we spent all our money. Wait. And they were calling saying we need more beef. So we had to get smart and figure out, well, how are we gonna do this? So we started to do fundraisers and ask people, just like any nonprofit, raise money. But we also tied ourselves to Northern Illinois Food Bank, a great organization, and got some coaching from them. A guy named Steve Erickson, fantastic guy. And he told me, he says, Greg, man, I've seen so many nonprofits come in and out and come and go. He said, if you want to do this thing right, you got to figure out how to be sustainable and consistent. Yeah. And so I'm proud to say we've certainly done that because since 2012, we have literally donated over, I think it's like 608,000 fresh beef meals. And we've done it by making monthly deliveries every single month for 12 years. There's a couple gaps during COVID, but overall consistent delivery. So we feel pretty good about that. And we're the only nonprofit anywhere that I know that exclusively raises funds, procures fresh beef, and donates it directly to those in need. And
how long was it, the time frame between the inception, the idea that you and your wife said, hey, let's do this, to when you ran out of money and said, oh, we got to figure this out? How long was that period of time?
About 6 months. I mean, between me and my wife and board members, we funded, a couple $1,000s to get an attorney and do that kind of thing starting off. And then we had a couple big fundraiser, but we got smarter and smarter as we went. And all in the first year, because then we're like, Reinhardt Food Service was actually great. They turned us on to their source, so we knocked out the middleman because we're a nonprofit. I mean, they wanted to help. So, gosh, since 2012, we've been purchasing directly from American Food Groups, who's like a Tyson. They're like the third largest beef distributor in the country. I mean, they're multi-billion-dollar company, and they've been so gracious to us. We purchase the beef at their cost or a little above. They put it on the back of their semi trucks when they're making deliveries to Chicago, our order. They don't charge us for freight, and they've been our partner for 12 plus years. And we wanted to make this thing simple too, because most importantly, and I don't know what you know about nonprofits. A lot of nonprofits are very profitable.
I know that there are a few that have been exposed as being very top heavy.
Yeah. And a lot of those dollars you donate, a lot of percentage of that doesn't really go to the right cause. So what we wanted to do is also have it so every dollar donated that we received goes directly towards buying beef and feeding the hungry. So we are all volunteer-based. 100% volunteer-based. Our overhead is like minimal. We have a couple $100 we spend a year on our website and that kind of stuff, a P.O. box, and that's it. $400 or $500 a year, and that's our expenses. And everything else is from our gracious sponsors. And then in the beginning, when you're starting off, you needed someone who had some teeth. So Shields Township was perfect. They were recognizable to give us some credibility. And then we went in Lake Forest Bank and Trust, who's been our sponsor from day one.
They have been so beneficial to so many organizations, like Forest Bank and Trust. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one of your main donors, right?
Yeah, and we have a couple private foundations that have been very gracious that I'll keep anonymous.
Okay.
But
name the ones that you can, because we want to make sure that they get thanked.
Well, the Bruni Foundation's been fantastic for years. Lake County Press has been fantastic. Scoo Walker and Walker, his insurance company, is consistent. Scooey. And right here, Lake Bluff Brewery has been. Well, what they've done is unbelievable, is because when we first started off, we used to do these big events, and we were questioned a lot because our first event we did out at the Northbrook Sports Club, so we bought a bunch of people out there to stick guns in their hands that they never had a gun, and gave them music and alcohol. It's a skeet shooting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we had a whole bunch of people out there in a
that.
van, and I told my insurance guy, he's like, "You're doing what?"
That was my reaction.
And then our second year, we decided to do something in. Do the tent and rent it out at Lake Bluff thing and bring in a mechanical bull. And
at the golf course.
Yeah. And
I saw that. I remember that.
And it was great.
Yeah.
I mean, these things were really fun and successful. And but our insurance people really were like, "What are you going to do? Parachute next?" I mean,
something more dangerous.
But the beauty about it is, at the end of the day, we're doing this to feed people. And, if someone's got a problem with that, then, shame on them.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to add one thing, because I was somewhat involved in these events and like helping put them together.
You've been there with them since the beginning, right?
Yeah, day one. And the events, they are costly to put on.
Yeah.
So by the time you pay all the expenses for the food, the drink, you're selling raffle tickets, you're doing silent auctions, the profit margin at the end of the day is not a lot. So that brings us to really the consistent fundraisers that you've been doing.
You too. I mean, you're part of the team.
Well, thank you. But how Lake Bluff has been so welcoming to Rib Fest.
Oh yes, right. Yeah.
And maybe you can go into that about how the two big fundraisers that we do in conjunction with Lake Bluff.
Yeah. So once again, we got smart because these fundraisers, they're a challenge. Golf outings and all that. The
logistics alone.
If it rains, and we don't do it full time, and they're expensive. So we got smart and said, "Gosh, how can we tie into organizations and not have to put all this money out up front, and with the hopes that we'll get money back?" So we partnered with Lake Bluff Brewery. And we started.
Bless their hearts.
Yeah.
And we started doing block parties.
Oh the block parties. Yeah.
And we brought in the Hellhounds and my son's band, the Nick Barnum band, and they've been
shout out.
They've been our entertainment and been great entertainment for 12 years, and they do it for no charge, for free.
Oh yeah.
And all the musicians donate their time and effort, and it's a lot.
Oh yeah.
And that's been very successful for us because people just come. We don't charge. We hope that people will donate. It gives us some recognition. And then we tied in with the Lake Bluff Rib Fest, the Lake Bluff Rib Association.
Is that what they call them?
Oh, yeah.
Well, Rib Fest.
It's a serious association.
I've been there since the very first one.
Absolutely.
It was like decades ago. And I was like, I hope this sprouts into something. And now here we are. And and you're involved.
And so they've graciously let us be part of that. And we've had the People's Choice Award for many years. And we've raised a lot. We've raised over $100,000 through that organization over the years. And so think of that, $100,000, that's, 200,000-300,000 meals that we've provided just from people coming out. And it's a great event and a great day.
And there seems to be momentum year after year. There's more recognition. People are looking for the donation jars that we put on all the booths. And the booth that gets the most money from People's Choice, is all donated. But then they win People's Choice. The recognition is just building, and it's a fun event. So it's nice that Beef4Hunger does 2 consistent events every year that bring Lake Bluff together, which they love doing, and for a good cause.
Now, there's Rib Fest. What was the other one?
Block party.
Oh, the block party.
In August.
In August, right.
Yeah.
Oh, I was there.
Parties.
I was there this year. Oh, boy, that was a good day, wasn't it? A good night.
Oh, yeah.
And the weather cooperated,
which
probably really helps.
Yes.
Good turnout, as I recall.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I hope that was good for you guys.
Absolutely. Every year it's good. Hey, every dollar we raise is good.
Now, when volunteers, now Holly is an avid volunteer, how can people get involved and what is expected of volunteers? Where can you put them? Like, what would you like for them to do? Who do you need? What do you need?
Well, that's a great question. What all nonprofits, and we're no different, we need money. We need money because without money, we can't procure beef and donate it. And that's the bottom line. So the biggest way that people can help is donate individually.
And that's on the website. If you go to Beef4Hunger, it's beef for the digit hunger.org. And I saw the donation button, and it's PayPal or credit card or
PayPal. You use PayPal, credit card, whatever. Yeah, we do it all. Or you can send a check. There's lots of ways that you can do it. And you could also volunteer and help us at events. And you could also do your own event on our behalf, which is great. If anybody wants to do a fundraiser, we've got all the credentials, and you want to raise money for Beef4Hunger, well, we'll let you go for it.
That's
as long
really
as
good
The high school, maybe.
I mean, as long as you behave.
oh yeah, because would you guys be liable for that? Or
Well, no, we want the right people doing the right things.
yeah, okay. Well, maybe the high school isn't the best idea. You never know what's going to happen with the kids. But some kids have been done some pretty charitable things. I've noticed. When I read the newspaper, the local newspaper and stuff, and Patch and whatever.
Absolutely.
So maybe that'd be okay.
We're open to
Anybody.
any ideas. Absolutely.
What sort of the lemonade stand type things have people done? Volunteers have there been any of those kinds of things yet? Or
No, not really.
so it would be forging new ground. Yeah.
Forging new ground. Yep. I mean, we're completely open to anybody that could help us in any way. We've been sustainable. We've got a proven track record. We're always looking for corporate sponsors and donations. You can get matches from your companies.
Matches from companies.
Company
Wow, that would
match,
be a way to really, yeah.
One thing I want to bring up is several years ago, I volunteered with a number of other people at the Northern Illinois Food Bank. And the interesting thing is all these pallets come in of expired, frozen chicken, meat, beef, and then they go straight into a freezer, and they're also donated.
Oh, wonderful.
One of the differences is this is fresh.
Yeah.
It's not expired. It's not frozen. They get it, like Greg said, once a month or...
Yeah. So I'll add to that point.
Okay.
So, and that was really when we initially founded. We did go to there, and we actually helped them sort these groceries, and it's a good thing because it's better than nothing. But we're like, well, why do people have to have at expiration date the old stuff from grocery stores and all of that stuff when we could deliver fresher beef? Than the grocery. And when I tell you we've got a good partnership, when we deliver our beef, it gets to our clients faster than if you buy beef at the grocery store because it goes through distribution and all that. Oh, it comes straight fresh. It's really good. But that was one of the things that we thought was important too. Good point, Holly. Thanks. Thanks for bringing that up.
Oh, no, I just thought it was interesting working there and just seeing the process of how the food comes from the grocery stores and then is delivered out to the people. Now, do you have any merch on your website? I forgot.
No, we don't. But at our events, we have T-shirts, hats.
Yeah, I thought
all
I
kinds
saw
of,
that.
We've had T-shirts and hats, and every year we do some tie-dye ones and some different stuff.
You got to step that up, Greg.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, people can only get so many T-shirts, and we have plenty. If anybody wants anything, we have them. We sell them cheap, $10. I mean, it's really just advertising.
Well, if somebody wants to do that and they want it, it's still good exposure.
Right.
Absolutely.
They buy it and they wear it. I mean, a hat, a T-shirt. I don't know. Maybe you ought to add that tab to your website.
Well, there's a great volunteer opportunity. So
There is. It wouldn't be me because I don't know how to do that. But
I'm not a webmaster, but I spent hundreds of hours developing our website 12 years ago with absolutely no experience. And it's been virtually the same. And it's simple. We like to keep things simple.
yeah.
And it's worked really well because we used to never be able to, the Google searches. Now you type Beef4Hunger, we're number one.
Oh,
And
wonderful.
that just shows how time and progress goes. But absolutely, we'd love support, someone to help us with merchandising and that. There's a volunteer opportunity.
Well,
There
and
you
that
go.
it would require somebody else to fulfill the orders. So it does get more complicated, but a lot of people make a lot of money on merch.
And maybe a possibility of an intern or somebody that's very good in technology.
That's a kid. There's your kid.
Beef4Hunger could use you to help us to the next level on marketing our merch.
There you go. And that's how we get the high school kids involved, because they know what they're doing. And how about this? Hey, kids, those of you in that very successful and well-run communications, whatever you call it, at the high school, make a sizzle reel for these guys. Something that really put out there and do some social. How is that for a volunteer opportunity?
Right. And maybe credits as well.
Oh, is that how that works in schools now?
Well, sometimes you could do stuff like that.
Okay, well.
I like it. I like that idea. So, absolutely.
Okay, see? We got a little cooking going here. A little brain food. Okay, cool. But I have a quick question. Now, this is local. This is Northern Illinois, correct?
The beautiful thing about our model, we're very scalable. We could
Really?
deliver. We could deliver. And when you look at nonprofits, all we need is about $2 or $3 million, and we could provide fresh beef to all the 200 food banks across the country on a steady rim. Which in the big spiel, it's not a lot of money for nonprofits, but once again, we're all volunteer-based. We need people. We need the engines to get that going. So we're super scalable. We deliver to Chicago Food Depository, Northern Illinois Food Bank. We've got a couple things. We support the Veterans Closet here in Waukegan.
Oh, Midwest Veterans Closet.
And Roberti House has been fantastic, Mary Beth. And we provide some extra stuff for them, and they have their culinary kitchen there, which is fantastic, that we provide fresh beef for, and they actually make the meals there that go to Veterans Closet, to the veterans. Yeah. Oh. So, and all that comes from our beef. And for those of you that don't know, and I'm not a scientist or whatever, but the protein that you get in the beef affects everything in your body. The body needs protein, and it's those that are less fortunate, and quote, they call them the hungry or food insecure, the kids and all of that stuff. They need not just dry food. They need protein. They need good food, and they need it regularly so they can grow and be strong.
Yeah. Well, it'd be nice to somehow, when I asked you about the national, local aspect, I was just trying to think how this organization could scale nationally, and you're saying that you could, but it does rely on the volunteer aspect heavily. I mean, solely. I guess
it relies on money.
And money.
It's money. All it takes is someone to catch wind of us and go, "That's a great thing," and have one of the big corporations say, "Hey, we're gonna leverage this to get some PR," and we give away millions and millions of dollars, and now we can help the hungry and choose one. The restaurants, the steakhouses, the people, anybody who's in the beef business, I can't think of a better organization to donate to. If you got to choose one that's directly tied to beef.
Yeah, it's a clean business. There's not a lot of administration. There's not very many volunteers. Administration. And it's literally money, beef delivered.
That's
wow.
it.
It's not like you see
the different tiers of this and that and the other. Yeah.
I've been to giveaways like where we're handing out food to people in need, and that's what's so beautiful about this charity. Well, do you already have your next goal of another channel of distribution? That because you've got
we have everything in alignment. It's once again, we're a very simple organization. We raise funds, we procure fresh beef, and we donate it. We allow that to get distributed out across the country. So once we have enough to fund an additional every food bank, to fund monthly deliveries of fresh beef, say 50,000 meals a year, would be 25,000 per food bank. So if you have 200, do the math. What's that? 4 or 5 million? That's it. Let's get it, ladies. Let's go.
Okay.
Now you got me going. Let's go out there. Let's go get the money. Let's look at the corporations because they give away hundreds of millions of dollars a year. Let's introduce ourselves and let's let them take our thing and feed some people that really need it.
I couldn't have said that better.
Right.
You're a good cheerleader for your organization. Yeah. And where's your farm based?
Oh, up in Wisconsin.
Up in Wisconsin. Okay.
Thank
I
you.
want to just end on that beautiful note of pom-pom raising there from Greg. Greg Barnum, the chairman of Beef4Hunger.org. I just don't want people to type in,
Right. And do you have a Instagram?
No. That's another volunteer-based thing. Same with Facebook.
Okay. So you've got your website that people can connect through.
Beef4Hunger.org.
Right. And that says it all.
It says it all.
Okay.
And you just hit the donate button if you want to make an immediate impact.
Yep. And if you are looking to be a big picture, a sponsor or something, you can contact me directly. All my information's on the website.
Perfect.
Greg at beef4hunger.org.
Thank you very much for being our guest.
Hey, thanks, ladies, for having me. This is awesome. I really appreciate it.
Okay. Oh, I would love to see something really pop. Wouldn't that be cool?
Oh, it would be great.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you, Greg.
Thanks. Thanks so much. And we will have that information about how to contact beef4hunger.org on our social. And feel free to share that information. Feel free to hit share on our posts and share if you want to inspire people to donate and or volunteer. Both would be good. Thanks so much. And Ladies Who Question is over and out. Bye. Thanks, Harvey.
Ladies Who Question is executive produced and edited by Lisë, Dominique, and Holly Caulfield. Music, My Lionheart and Sketch Music, Florian Monax and Matthew Anderson. Font, Geofanny by Adriana619. Research, Holly Caulfield. Social media, Chelsea Caulfield. Please follow Ladies Who Question on all social media, ladieswhoquestion.com. And subscribe and follow us wherever you get your podcasts. This is a Harvey Doodle production.
All content discussed on Ladies Who Question are the individual opinions of Lisë, Dominique, and Holly Caulfield and should not be construed as personal advice of any kind. By listening to this podcast, you agree to not use this podcast as any advice for any personal or medical issue of yourself or others. This entire disclaimer also applies to any guests or contributors to the podcast.